Hello and welcome to the Flix Forum podcast, where each episode we go back and we look at a Netflix original film in the order of release. Today we have Netflix 130th film. It's the 2018 Nigerian drama Lionheart, and it's directed by Genevieve Nnaji, and it stars her as well as Nkem Owoh, Pete Edochie, Onyeka, Onwenu, and Kanayo. I am Jesse. I have butchered the cast. I apologize to everyone involved in this film, but I am very much looking forward to discussing this film with you today. Our first ever Nigerian drama, which I'm very, very excited for you to listen along and hear my thoughts on this film. As usual, if you haven't seen this film and you would like to see this film, please do give us a pause right now. Come back a bit later on after you've seen the film, because this one is one that I'm going to spoil very, very soon as we get into this. And as usual, we start with our Fast Flicks, where I do a quick summary of the film in 30 seconds or less, or as quick as I possibly can. So for me, this one is: a transport company is under temporary family guidance and they must pay back a large debt or face losing the business. So a little bit of a gist of what's going on in this one. Hopefully it doesn't give away too much, because now we're going to get into it, where I'm going to discuss some things that I could find out about this film, about its production and how it was put together. So this was the first original Netflix film with that new Netflix logo that we're all now so familiar with, where it has the big N logo and then it sort of bounces off or runs off into those rainbow colors. So this is, I guess, our first 2019 release on Netflix. I know it's a 2018 film, but this was released on Netflix in 2019. So we've cracked into 2019, which is an exciting feat. Still over 2 years behind, but we are getting there through these films. In Poland, this one was called Courageous Heart, which is also another nice little take on this film. And this was the first Netflix original film from Nigeria, like I mentioned. It was optioned by Netflix a day before it premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival, or TIFF, and this was in September 2018. It did have a little bit of a theatrical run in Nigeria in December 2018. I think it took 21.3 million Nigerian dollars at the box office, so a nice little hit in its homeland. Then Netflix worldwide in January 2019, and apart from Italy, where it was released in June of 2019. So Lionheart was selected as the Nigerian entry for the Best International Feature Film at the 92nd Academy Awards. It was the first time that Nigeria had submitted a film to the Oscars, and unfortunately, in November 2019, the Academy disqualified the film, as the majority of the dialogue in this film is in English and only about 10 minutes of it is in this native language of Igbo. So a bit of a bummer for the creators of this film. It also received some negative reviews online due to what some people perceived as the unrealistic plotline. This review on, I think the website's called Neuromatrix, they noted that the film's writers and producers, they failed to properly research the workings of this corporate environment that this film's about. And as a result, they were a bit confused with a few of these blunders. But I think they're probably being a little bit too harsh. Sometimes when you see a film, you need to get taken away into that world of the characters and where they're at. And you don't necessarily have to treat everything like it's 100% fact. And this one, I'll get into my early thoughts soon, but I think you just need to take this one as a nice little story. The consensus for this one, so on Rotten Tomatoes, it sits on 100%. That's on 7 reviews, so it is fresh, not certified yet. The audience had it a fair bit lower at 65%, and this is a bit over 50 reviews. On IMDb, 5.7 out of 10 on 1,300 reviews, and Letterboxd had it at 2.9, and that's only on about 900 reviews, so not a lot of people have seen this one at all. It was nominated for an award at the Black Reel Awards in 2019, and it actually won this award for Outstanding World Cinema of a Motion Picture, so congratulations on the team for that one. And this is the time for me to head into my early thoughts, and this one took me by surprise. It was such a sweet, nice story. Like, it doesn't break any new ground in storytelling, but it was done in such a positive way that it was really hard not to enjoy this tale about a family overcoming the odds to be successful. And this is a family-friendly film. This is a film that you could sit down with your kids and enjoy and sit back and talk about the messages and the ideas and the things that are in this film that your kids would definitely be able to connect with, even though it's set in a country that a lot of us probably never ever been to. The characters for this one, so Adiz, I think that's how you say it properly. She's the main character, and she is or believes the values, and this film is set around this Lionheart transport company, and they refer to this business as being, safety and comfort when they travel. And her brother, she has a brother, and he depends on her to communicate with their dad, and she follows this routine and commitment. She works really hard. She goes for a run every morning, and you can see that this relationship she has with her dad, who is I think is referred to as the chief. He's the head of this company, and she just wants to impress him all the time. And realistically, her dad, he's this big softy. He wants what's best for his daughter and his son. Even though that relationship with the son isn't as good as it is with his daughter, he makes it very obvious. He just wants his kids to succeed because family is everything to him. And this film does feature a lot about family. We do see a character come in, the brother of the dad, the chief. They call him Uncle Chief Godswill, and he's put in this position in this company that isn't popular with a lot of the characters, but you can't not love him. He is such a great character. He mixes things up in this unbusinesslike way. He does these morning prayers at this company, this bus company. He sits with all the workers, and he does have this solution to this issue that they have in this film really early on. And while it's sitting there the whole time, it helps Adese on this journey before she realizes that, she should have actually listened to her uncle earlier. And it's just a nice, it's so obvious, but it's just such a nice way of building this character and showing her strengths and her growth and her being able to head into this situation where she grows and understands what she needs to do. I guess the last character I'll talk about is Sam, and he works on the board of this Lionheart transport company. Not related to any of these characters at all, but this guy, he wants to be in charge, and I guess he's sort of the softest villain that I've ever seen, and he's very jealous of Adese, and he wants to suck up to whoever he can to be successful. And he organizes for the enemy of this company, this IG Motors company, and their leader Pascal to try and take over the business, and he's referred to as a snake, and that's about all that you really see from him. He's a villain, he's the bad guy, but he's not really that bad. You can still sympathize with him for his motives, and I think that's just the way that this film is set up. It's a nice film. It's not a very negative film, and there's not many negative connotations, and there's not many horrible situations that the characters face, which like I mentioned before, makes it such a feel-good film. The director, I guess, in this one is Genevieve Nnaji. She started acting when she was 8, and she's got 136 acting credits, so big name in Nigeria. But this is her first directing credit, her one and only directing credit, so hopefully good things to come from her if she decides to follow through with directing some more feature films. Scenes. This is where I'm going to jump into some scenes that stood out for this one. So ones that I liked, and at the start, there's just these beautiful establishing shots of the locations across Nigeria. You've got these lovely fields and these dirt roads and these small cities, and it just gives you this lovely feel for this film and the location. I did enjoy a lot of the scenes that were conversations between the characters, and I guess that's where a lot of these scenes are going to come from. These nice chats, or these nice dialogue that we have between a lot of these characters. And they often come with the main character Adese, because she's often disappointed with being looked over, and she often bounces off her mum. She has these good conversations, and the mum just constantly reminds her that it's nothing about her being a woman. It's, your dad does appreciate you. You work really hard, and it might seem that it's not fair, but this is the growth that we can see in you. And then there's also good conversations between the dad and the uncle too, talking about, how the daughter needs to understand that life doesn't always go as planned, and that the uncle, he relates it back to family. They're all on this same journey together about family, and this sort of conversation really made me realize that I was enjoying the sweetness of this film. This film is super sweet. I like that there's a lot of sexual advances towards Adese from the men, and she brushes them off, she ignores them. It's a really good way of putting it through without her character being impacted on by these. She's very strong, and I do like that. Another conversation that I enjoyed was the uncle talking to Adese, and he mentions, women sometimes are idle and they eat the wealth of the men, and she cracks it and stands up to him and says, I work hard for my money too. I really enjoyed that. And there's a scene later on where At ease is a little bit sad, and the mum goes to check on her, and she talks about challenges and these mistakes, and how the father had all these same challenges of failure and trying to set this company up in the first place. And she's telling her daughter, you need to dig deep and get it done. And this was just such a lovely moment. There's another scene where there's this feast at the house, and it's just really nice to see family time in a culture that's different to mine, and how the banter went across the table, and how the characters were happy to have a laugh at each other, and you could feel the love at that table, even though these are all actors, obviously. There's another dad and daughter convo where he talks about that she is his biggest legacy, that he's going to leave behind, his daughter, and she's this pendulum of his life and means so much to him. It was just lovely. I guess I might have been in the right mood or the right frame of mind to watch this one, because sometimes these corny sorts of conversations might not work, but in this case they definitely did for me. Again, we've got this idea where At Ease is just trying to pitch for this merger of the busing company, and she connects with this new person she's never met before on the values of family, and these core values of which their business is built, and this growth being based on how you treat others. And it's this common theme again of just this idea of respecting who you are, where you come from, and those around you. And then finally, when the chief, gets to meet this guy called Meccano, who's the boss of this other bus company that they're trying to merge together, it was very tense. They weren't talking to each other, and then they talk in their own dialect a little bit. And this just broke that barrier, and they laugh, they shake hands, and it just really highlighted how culture can bring people together for me. Not much that I didn't like about this one. I've got two little things. I think that if you've listened to any of our earlier episodes on Flix Forum, you know that the day or the number countdowns that you get on the screen sometimes annoy me. And this happened a couple of times, and this one didn't really need it, because I think as an audience we could work out what was going on. And the only other thing's a personal little touch, I guess. When Adiz gets up for a morning run, she has this alarm that goes off for a morning run, and just that sound of that alarm, I used to have that as one of my old alarms, and that noise just gave me anxiety. It just freaked me out whenever I heard it on the screen. All right, some themes, some ideas in this one. So this one, obviously I mentioned before, family. It's about family legacy. This bus company takes people to destinations in comfort and style, and this proves worth to anyone that matters, especially the dad. And this idea of integrity too. They're always on the lookout for their employees. They want to do what's best for everyone because they care for each other. They care for others. A bit of female power too. Adi's working hard to get her success, and obviously, spoiler alert, it may happen in the end, but I think that it does it in a nice way too. And I mentioned this briefly too, culture. This film actually starts off with these stats about domestic growth and how it depends on a good transport system. And for an outsider, I guess it might be hard to understand how important transport can be for a developing country, because it's just something we take for granted. So it's nice that these people, through their business, are contributing to society a little bit as well. And what did I take from this one? It's just one of those feel-good films. It's nice to have something that had very little negativity in it. It was just a really feel-good film that brought me up, and I really want to recommend this one to people. And I guess that's where I'll head into my ranking or my rating for this one, where we give the film a rating out of 5 for our Flix Forum score. And I think, as you can probably pick up on this one, I really enjoyed it. It had a real positive vibe. There's these vibrant locations, that the characters were believable, and it made this film a treat. It's perfect for a family movie night in, with minimal themes or language that you might want to shield your kids from. It's something that everyone can take from, and I can't really recommend this highly enough. So I'm giving this a 3.5 out of 5. Hopefully you've enjoyed this chat today. If you have, please do jump onto our social medias. We've got Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We pop a question of the week up there, and I just want to know, can you recommend any other Nigerian films for me? This was the first I think I've ever seen, so if there's some other little gems out there that you've seen, please do let me know on our social media pages. And that almost wraps us up for this week. We will be back again next week for another Netflix original film. And next week we have a comedy. It's the 2019 film The Last Laugh, which is directed by Greg Pritikin. It stars Richard Dreyfuss, Chevy Chase, Andy McDowell, Lewis Black, Kate Maturi, and Chris Parnell. So if you want to jump on board for that one next week, feel free to watch it. And I would like to thank you, as always, for sticking with me, listening through for this one, and hopefully this is a recommendation that you might take away and give a watch, Lionheart on Netflix. And I look forward to seeing you again next week.